Okay, so you've seen some of the headlines from the insurance sector there. The sector regulator, NAICOM, says they've lifted the ban on new insurance licensing. In particular, for those who want to do business in the Tier 1 category, life, non-life, and composite insurance, you've got 6 billion, 9 billion, and 15 billion naira. Step forward, get a license, and go start your new business. That's the story this morning. Then, of course, the sector regulator is asking the sector workers, asking the regulator, NAICOM, to please extend the deadline for this recapitalization and reclassification of insurance businesses in Nigeria till December next year. That's a long shot in the dark. So the regulator is sticking with the 1st of October 2018 deadline. Get in or get out. But the workers says, please, 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 there will be consequences if you do that. So we have less than 30 days. We'll hear more from the regulator before the end of the week. We have a lot to talk about. Meantime, let's deal with what we know. Let's talk about the insurance stocks listed on the market. Since the month of July, thereabout, we've been seeing this movement in the share price of some of the listed insurance companies. We've had a few of them with folks from around the world, new investors coming in, buying some of these insurance companies as part shareholders or just buying them up, change the name. So we've seen all of that. Now some insurance companies are looking for more money to recapitalize, trying to beat the new regulatory deadline. We go back to our studios at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and we have one of the stock traders, Rotimi Fakaijo, to take us through these stocks one by one, if we can do that. Rotimi, good morning. It's good to have you in that studio. How do you feel sitting in there? You've always been on the floor. So you're sitting in the studio. How do you feel in there with that nice studios?
Yeah, it's a very comfortable studio. I think it's up-to-date technology, and this is what is really apt for now.
Yeah, thank you for that promotional statement. Of course, we just recapitalize ourselves. So we have a brand new city studio down there for you folks to come and play, and let's have this intelligent conversation. So, a few months ago, 2 months or thereabout, we started noticing this movement in the share price of some of the insurance sectors. Was it because some investors were hearing the rumor about the new recapitalization and reclassification?
Well, it's not far from that. I think a specific example is NAICOM Insurance. It's been up and up and up. And investors are basically more interested in this now because new investors are coming in. And with the entry of fresh capital, it definitely implies that they're going to do better, at least having done okay for quite some time. They've stood the test of time, and they'll be able to report good financials for quite a while as well. So I think it's one of the major insurance companies that have really done well in the recent time.
We've seen, like you said, investors, offshore investors coming in into some of the insurance companies. They've bought into them. Some of one or two names have been changed, and of course you know them. Do you see this new momentum as a change or a game changer for this sector that almost always lacks their bigger cousins, the bank?
Well, it's going to be a very tough one because we have about 24 insurance companies listed on the exchange. Of the 24 companies listed on the exchange, 3 of them are above 1 naira share price. 4 of them are above 50 kobo share price, and the remaining 17 are below 50 kobo. It's very, very, very unusual for a sector that is ought to be very viable. So for this to be a game changer, it's only going to be for a very few ones, because from every indication, if a stock is trading at 20 kobo share price, how many shares is it going to sell to be able to raise the quantum of funds that is required to meet the new regulatory requirement? So it's going to be a very tough one for them. But for those ones who are actually be doing good, the 3 of them above the share price of 1 naira are Custodian and Allied Insurance, Mansard, and also NEM. We are seeing NAICOM Insurance inching close to £1 share price. It closed at 99 kobo yesterday, and it's also geared towards the capital raising which they want to do at about £1.20 kobo. So I think for that we can see the reason why the movement in some of the prices of the insurance companies are actually heading north.
Do you think some may be able to go the route of doing a right offer? Like, for example, Mutual Benefits, one of the firms considered as the bellwether, as an old and a strong insurance company there, has just put out a notice to do a right.
Well, I think Mutual Benefit is supposed to be a very strong insurance company. It's highly diversified. But I think what may hold better for them is to become a holding company rather than the kind of structure that they have presently. I believe that happens if there is if they take off some of their assets or some of their subsidiaries and add up the value to what it is presently. I believe they may be able to meet up with what it is right now. But at the same time too, if they go the way of custodian and allied insurance, now we have custodian investment PLC rather than what it used to be before. And we have seen that they have really done fantastically well. So I believe they can toe that line too. But for Mutual Benefit Insurance, is a company that we all believe in, and I think that they should really up their game and do the needful.
There was the time, Rotimi, and I'm sure you know, when we had close to 80 insurance companies listed on the board, and I'm sure you know that. We had about 70-something at some point some years ago. Then we had the last insurance sector recapitalization. Do you see, now we have about, how many? Just going to remind myself. Yes, about 24. So do you see this 24 go down in number at the end of this exercise, whether it's 1st of October this year, or January next year, or December next year?
Well, we may not see many of them getting delisted from the market or getting out of business, since there's still room for reclassification. So since that window is open for them all, I believe they may remain listed while they reclassify. So that definitely necessarily, that may not necessarily take them out of the companies listed on the exchange.
So when you talk to investors and your clients and your colleagues, what's the general sentiment as far as the insurance stocks are concerned?
Well, the sentiment, I won't lie to you, has been negative concerning the majority of the quoted listed insurance companies. Not too many of them have been paying dividend, and what investors look forward to in any investment is return. And the cash is very, very vital. So if they are not receiving such, and also at the same time they cannot get liquidity for those shares, it's not really a good experience for them. And the reason why they have arrived at this level is because of the bogus number of shares that many of the insurance companies do have. So I believe strongly that going forward, they will be able to think better, and they should do everything possible to turn in better figures. If any of them scale the hurdle of raising new capital, and at the end of the day, I will strongly advise that they sort of look at capital restructuring. We've seen International Energy Insurance do this in the past about 2 times, and it didn't augur well, but I believe they went it the wrong way. So if they will pursue it the right way, I believe investors will begin to have better value for their investment in that particular sector.
Yes, share reconstruction. I like that. Share reconstruction, whether it is a buyback, which I'm sure not just that company did, but as another insurer that did a bit of share buyback. You said it didn't go well. Share reconstruction. Why is it that it doesn't go well in this market? Because you want to get some cash in, you want to reflate your liquidity without doing a private placement, or sorry, a special placement, or a rights issue, or a public offer. You just do some share buyback. But you said these insurance companies don't even have the cash. They don't even have the money to buy back the shares. But again, if you're selling at 50 kobo, how much would you be doing a buyback?
Well, I think buyback will have been the only thing that will have sustained the price of the stocks. But what they have done basically in the past is to write off many of the shares in a ratio that is very, very big. We've seen that happen for IE, as I've said earlier on. And what used to be Unity Capital Insurance, what use some other insurance companies have equally done same, but the result has not really been good. But the way it is right now, investors need to have good return on their investment, and the only way that can happen is for the insurance companies to begin to turn in good figures. And the EPS, because of the large number of shares, has been remarkably low. So dividend is not really forthcoming. We see some of them paying 2 kobo, some of them paying 3 kobo, and this is not substantial when you compare it to what is obtainable from the banks. So investment in that particular sector has not really been worthwhile. And I only hope that the regulators will pay more attention to the activities of this company. If need be, some of them can merge, maybe, although that may not be possible within the time limit. But I believe if there is extension or when they are ready, they can actually go about this and come out bigger and stronger.
Yes. One quick question, Rotimi. We've seen foreign investors, and I'm going back to that question. Some foreign investors from Europe are coming in and buying into these insurance companies. Some of their names have been changed, 1, 2, or 3 in the last couple of months. What is it that foreign investors are seeing in the insurance sector that you and I are not seeing, for example?
Well, what makes the difference is that they are coming with big cash that will rejuvenate the company. The present investors in the insurance sector don't have that kind of cash. And also, when those foreign investors are coming with big cash, they are coming for a takeover. So they will be in charge of the business, and they will dictate what happens thereafter. So that is what makes the difference between Nigerian investors and the foreign investors that are just coming to that particular sector.
Rotimi, with so much money hanging around in this economy, we don't have the naira to buy stocks at 20, 25 kobo and take over? Maybe if you and I, for example, get together, we can pick one insurance company at 20 kobo and pick up the entire shares. 20 kobo, 10 billion shares, that won't cost us that much. So is it all just about cash, or there is something in the insurance business, in the economy, that foreign investors are seeing, so that you and I and 180 million of us don't wake up one day very soon in the next few months or few years, and we've seen the insurance sector in Nigeria dominated by insurance foreign firms, private equity folks, maybe insurance firms, asset managers, and we'll say, hold on a second, how did we get here? They picked everything and they've gone. And we start complaining.
Well, I don't really think it's a complaint because it's a matter of confidence in that particular sector. What basically is the case now is that Nigerian investors that are already present, that are investors in those insurance companies, will not let go their holding. So what the foreign investors are doing with the management is the creation of new shares by way of special placement or rights issue, in some other ways. So now what happens at the end of the day is, by the time they bring the cash, it comes in at fresh capital, and it's able to rejuvenate the company. But if the local investors were to take over, they will be scampering for already existing shares, which the shareholders may not want to let go. So this is what makes it difficult. And for everyone, whether you want to believe it or not, those companies will prefer a situation whereby foreign investors are coming in rather than local investors, for whatever reason best known to them.
Yeah, for a reason best known to... You see, I'm a journalist, but again, I don't understand some of this business saying sometimes a company is not doing well, you're sitting down there, you're holding the shares, you don't want to let go. I don't know, but maybe someday, maybe when I become a businessman, maybe in my retirement, I'm going to come learn from Broad Street, where you guys live, work, and play. Thank you very much, Rotimi Fakayejo from Enterprise Stockbrokers.